Are you ready for the conclusion of Soggy Britches 3? Well, let's get started. What do you think? Bolstered by the popular majority, I went ahead and decided to go with a split log top. Taking these single logs here and using some wedges and splitting them in half. This has worked pretty good because it's only required me to use half as many rounds, and I found that this has been quite a tedious process, so it's very welcome to have to use half as much material. This bridge is longer than I originally thought it was going to be. I think it's probably close to about 25 feet long, so that's a lot of decking. I think it looks nicer having the rounds. It's very rustic, and we do have some flat plank bridges on the property, and I like to mix things up a little bit. I think for this area, it'll be fun as you come across with a bike. You know, it's a little bit bumpy, but it's just a little bit exciting. So I've got some small trees pulled up here. Let's go through the process of how I've best devised to split them. May not be the best way, it's just the way that I came up with, but it seems to work pretty good. So let's finish this up and let's get to work. So that's the way it looks kind of from another angle. I've got a little over half done, and I've got right over here just a bunch of poles that I've had stacked up that I was going to cut it for firewood. I have lots and lots of these. These are the small trees that we've taken out for the thinning, and so these will be the candidates. I've got some pine and some white and red fir in there. So the bridge decking is 4 feet wide. So I've got my tape measure laid out here, the edges squared, and I'll cut 5 at a time here with the saw. So some of these here are long enough, we can get another piece out of them. So we'll split those, the rest of these short pieces here, we'll pile this up here for firewood. This is nice and dry, this will be good for firewood. And I've got a few more over here, so if we cut another 5, that will give us 20 deck boards. And I've just kind of used different random sizes. So it is a bumpy deck, but it's all right. Kind of the charm of it. It's kind of a rustic Soggy Britches bridge, or Soggy Bottom bridge, I guess it is a bit crude. Let's see if we can't get one more on there. Yeah, we'll get these on there, and then one more set here. We can cut another 5. All these small logs that I've been splitting have been dry. They've been down over a year. And I've found that they've split pretty good. I wonder how much better green logs would split. I just don't have any to try. I think that they might split better. If I can get a chance, I'll try one and we'll see what the difference is. What I've come up with for splitting these logs into halves are, these are some bucking wedges that I made a while back. And what they are, they were just simply cut out of an old double-bitted axe that was beyond repair. It had a cracked eye, I think. So you can see right there, those make really good wedges. And because wedges are kind of hard to find, and they're expensive when you do find them. The only downside to doing this is that these are forged pretty hard steel, and they can have a tendency to chip. if you look there close, you'll see that these have mushroomed out just from the pounding that I've done to them on the logs that are on the stringers right now. So that hard steel can chip when you're going metal to metal with it. So if you're going to do that, be sure that you wear safety glasses and everyone around you. I haven't had a piece fly off, but it could. So I've just drilled some holes in them there and connected them together with some strings, which is kind of nice because you'll see here string helps to pull them out when they get lodged. And so I'm just using about a 2-pound hammer for hitting those in. And then my small forest axe for cleaning up any of these knots and limbs and such that still remain, because we don't want those sticking up. My work area that I've got laid out here is, if you ever need a nice little flat spot that's really strong that you can pound on, whether you're splitting, like if you guys are batoning or splitting wood, you always want to cut yourself off a little stump, or find a stump like this right here. It's a real strong perch for doing such work, and when your axe or wedges go through, they bury into the wood, protecting the edge and not going into the dirt where they might and usually do find a rock. So this is kind of my work area that I've got set up here. So what I do is I'll put this on here like this. Then I'll start here pretty close to the edge, just a couple inches in or so, and I'll start my wedge. I'll drive it all the way down, and then centering where I'm going to put my next wedge, going to center it right there over my log, and I've got a good crack developing here, and I'll work this in. You can see there that split is going pretty even. Sometimes that split is wanting to kind of turn around, kind of follow like a radius movement, and if that happens, I've found that I wouldn't put the next wedge in the crack. I would start a new one at the place where I wanted the crack to be, and it seemed to work pretty well. So just keep chasing these down here like that, and actually, that's about it. There's enough there that I can probably pry this apart. Go incredible Hulk there on it. Okay, that works pretty good. So you can see here the two edges. They're pretty flat. They're not perfect, but this is a crude bridge. So we'll set these aside here. And let's see if we can't give one more a go here and see how it does. These have actually been splitting pretty good here. Here we've got one, you can see that radius is wanting to turn around. Sometimes they just don't work at all, and I'll just discard them and get a different one that wants to cooperate more. But I'm not willing to give up on this one yet. But yeah, I can see right here, this one's going to be a problem. Here you can see it's wanting to split in all different directions. It's got a lot of radial tension in it. At that point, I don't think I'll fool with it anymore. So I'll just put my axe in there, and pry my wedges out. And just relegate this one here to the scrap pile. No point of fooling around with it. Just move on to something that's going to be more cooperative. Perhaps this one will be. Now this one here, I can see it's got a lot of radial tension in it. See how it's a radial twist in it, like a rifled barrel. How it's doing that? We don't want that. I spent too many hours on these to where I can eventually find one that's easy to fool with one that's going to take me 20-30 minutes to split. That rope really helps to pull them out when they get stuck, I have found. was not by design, that was just an accident I found out, but it does work. So yeah, that's pretty good there. So there's 2 more. So I'm gonna get to work and split the rest of these, and then we'll go about finishing up the decking. So this is the first piece of pine wood that I've tried to split, and it seems to work really good. It seems it's pretty straight grain and it's splitting really nice. Splits wide and easy. It's easy to transfer the wedges. So if I had a choice, I'll try a couple more. I might prefer the pine. Yeah, that's really nice. Look how straight and clean that split. I'm not gonna fuss with the bark too much on this. Some people have asked about that. How come you haven't stripped the bark off of it? If it's stuff that's really loose like this, I'll take it off. But most of the bark on here is really thin. It's not that heavy ponderosa pine bark like this here, or that heavy Doug fir bark that attracts bugs so much. So these little top boards, a lot of it, as it gets walked on and the bikes run over it, it's going to shake it off anyway once it loosens up. So I don't think it's a real critical component to the bridge. Not so much that I'm going to strip all the bark off each individual piece. Now on the other hand, if I get a big woolly piece of bark like on this ponderosa here, it's got a lot of limbs on it, I'll cut the limbs off. And I'm going to definitely strip this bark off here. It's really flaky, it's thick, and this stuff seems to really gather insects, so it comes off real easy, so it just takes a moment here. The fir bark, not so much, doesn't come off as well. The West is really being decimated, Colorado, Montana especially, by a bark beetle that's destroying the ponderosa trees. If you drive through there, as I have recently, there's just thousands of acres of them that are dead. No one's quite sure why that is. There's some scientists who have speculated that it's because our winters are not as cold as they used to be, that a lot of these pine bark beetles are surviving where they didn't normally survive because the winters are so much milder. And that makes sense and it sounds logical, but the problem that we have is that there are so many competing agencies and people and governments, whatever, that have an agenda that try to use science to further their cause, that they're no longer objective. And so when I hear that, the first thing I wonder is, well, I don't trust the people that are spouting this or coming up with this. They have lost. That's the problem with politics getting involved with science. They have lost their credibility. They've lost the credibility because case after case, every month or so, something comes out where statistics or facts are being doctored or altered to meet a particular agenda. And once that starts happening, and then it casts a taint on all science. So I don't know why the bark beetle is doing what it is. It's hard to say. And I thought I would have Soggy Bottom Bridge wrapped up in 3 series, or 3 episodes. Not so. There's going to be a 4th. I guess once I start getting and ranting about my politics, then it makes videos go long. So look forward to part 4. I'll get that. It's in the can. Everything is done. I'll get that up for you tomorrow, as soon as I can. So I guess that's it. We've got, what, 3-4 days until the open house. Mrs. Wranglerstar and I are working long days trying to get ready for that. A lot of work goes into it, but it's going to be worth it. We are excited and just excited. So, what's up? Anything else? No, I think that's about it. So, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this series, please take a moment and click the thumbs up. I appreciate that. And that's it. We'll see you guys on the next video.